Hey guys, welcome back. Today I was out in the garden and trying to figure out what to make for dinner. And I realized we go through all of the hard work of planting and maintaining and nurturing these plants and preserving. But what do we do and how do we use them? So I thought today I'm going to show you how I make my homemade spaghetti sauce from scratch. From most of the ingredients are from our garden, either this year or last year. You don't have to. If you can get the food from the market and preserve it, if you can get carrots and can them, if you can get mushrooms and can them, whatever works, whatever you need to do. If you don't have the garden space, get what you can at the store and dehydrate, can it, freeze it, whatever, just so you have these items on hand so that you can make this stuff. And it just, the homegrown, I think the homegrown tomatoes just make it taste that much better. There's just something a little different about them if you've had them. So I'm going to change the view for you and come along while I make my spaghetti sauce. Okay, so first up, I am going to go over the ingredients with you so that you can see what I've got here. And it looks like a lot, but it's just not everything is really even necessary. This is not an approved, canning recipe, so I'm more of an ingredient canner anyway. So I'm going to go over with you. I've got basil, bell pepper, powdered bell pepper, powdered celery, tomato powder. I've got mushrooms that we canned last year. I've got 3 cloves of garlic. I've got about a small medium bell pepper chopped. Over here, I've got sauteed onion, 1 medium sauteed onion. And then I've got parsley, some beef broth powder, my tomato, and oregano. And this is brown sugar. And I don't use a whole lot of this. I just use a little bit. So, and then of course you'll need, if you're using garlic, you need to either dice it or have a crusher. And I do mine in a crock pot. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to start off. This is a quart of tomato sauce. Basically, I cook down my tomatoes in a roaster and can them. And I don't add salt when I do because I prefer to add it, and it will splash. I prefer to add that when it is being used and determine it by the dish. So a lot of this, and this is why I do it, you can do this in a pot on the stove or a little crock pot. This is a 2-quart crock pot that I got for sauces and things. We're having spaghetti tonight, so I thought this would be a nice addition. And so I sauteed up about a medium size onion, and I'm going to try, we're going to start by putting about half of that in. Just because I don't want to overdo. I have a tendency to do that. So we're going to take the bell pepper and I'm dropping the whole thing in. And you're going to think, why do you do this? And then I have the bell pepper powder. Well, I do that because it just intensifies the flavor. I don't know where my tablespoon went to. It's probably in the dishwasher. So I'm going to put a couple teaspoons of bell pepper powder. And this also keeps the flavor and helps thicken the sauce. So I'm going to go through all my powders here. This is celery, and it just is to add a little bit of the flavor. There's nothing fancy to it. It's all by preference. So I have basil, and this is one of my favorite herbs. I dehydrated these last year. If I can get a few out. And they smell so good. So I love basil, but it is a sweet flavor, so I don't want to overdo it in here. I'll take a couple of those out because we just want to give a hint of it. And I just take it and crush it up. It's not crushing for some reason today. Let me get my chopping board and just bring this over. It kind of started crushing, but and it does fly when. Let's see if you can see that. I just kind of use the edge of my counter here. So just chop it up. It'll blend in with the oregano and that, and it just gives it a little bit of a flavor, different flavor. This is already, I kind of crushed up. It just fits better in the jar. Fresh oregano from my herb garden. And again, I measure with, you just measure with your heart until it says stops. There we go. And then a little bit of parsley. Again, I've already, when I get it in the jar, I kind of crush it up a little bit. It helps a little compact fit, but it also makes it easier, ready to use. And I'm going to add a little bit of this brown sugar, and I keep my brown sugar in this with my little teddy bear, and I don't even know the last time I bought brown sugar. I make it with molasses and regular sugar. So there are plenty of videos out there on how to do that. It is super easy, and you never have to run to the store. So this is the beef broth, and it just adds a little bit more. Again, it's a flavor thing. It's a flavor preference. You just think of your favorite spaghetti sauce and what you like about it. I like mine like kind of garden chunky. So, oop, I went across the counter. Didn't aim it down, did I? So these are these garlic cloves have been frozen, and I left them out to defrost a bit. It just helps preserve them. I just pull them out of the freezer. It takes like maybe a few minutes, but the flavor is there and the aroma is there. And then I probably need a spoon. This is the mushrooms that we canned. As I said, I like mine garden chunky, and we can these. They are pretty easy, and I don't add a lot of I don't want a lot of watery because I like mine thick. But I'll add probably a little bit more. And whatever we don't use of this will be used in eggs and toast. So I'm going to give this a quick stir, see how we're doing. I don't want to overdo the space of it. I think we're doing pretty good. So honestly, I think I'm going to add the other part of the onion, and then going to see how this simmers down, and if I feel it's necessary, I will add some tomato powder, and that tomato powder is a good thickening agent that will retain the flavor of your sauce, and it doesn't degrade it into a watery mess. And the way I got this is I took the skins off my tomatoes before I processed them, and I dehydrated them, and then I just put them in a blender and powdered them up. And it keeps for a while. I wouldn't do any more than like a couple of months at a time, because it will lose some of its potency. But if you can keep it in the tomato skin and just kind of stack them all in a jar, then you're good to go. I am going to leave this on, let's see, it's already 1:30, so I'm probably going to put this on high, and I'm going to leave it for a couple hours and come back. And I'm pairing this with our home ground pork for our meat tonight, and I am going to be doing some home ground wheat to do the noodles for tonight's dinner, and we'll see how that goes over. The bread has been phenomenal. Everyone's been loving it, so I think we're switching from processed to home ground milled wheat, and we'll see how that goes. But this is my quick, easy tomato sauce for spaghetti, and we'll see. I'll show you what it's like when it comes out, when it's done, and we'll be eating dinner in a few hours.